Yo, what up, HyperChange? Welcome to another episode. Today we're doing a little live video about why I've been personally buying more Tesla. Basically, putting every dollar I have into Tesla that I have that's free, which I guess isn't a change from the usual. But yeah, so I wanted to go through. I have a couple reasons why. I put links in the description. We're going to go through those, and then I wanted to sort of just have fun and have an AMA and like let everybody who's tuning in ask whatever they want to know about Tesla and that sort of thing. So can you, if everyone can you hear me all right? I just want to make sure everybody can hear me all right. So maybe you should leave a comment if you can hear me all right. But anyway, I bought in today at $277 per share. So I guess the main reason why is reason number one: be greedy when others are fearful. So this is Warren Buffett mentality. As much as I seem like a crazy growth investor, like I think Warren Buffett's strategy and sort of mentality and framework is incredibly important. This whole sentiment that like buy low, sell high, it sounds so simple. Be greedy when others are fearful, but this whole idea that sentiments in the stock market will always overreact and move a stock wildly. And if you have a long-term outlook because of time arbitrage, you can actually really profitable, profit on these opportunities. And so be greedy when others are fearful. That's reason number one. I think, in the short term, the stock market's a voting machine. In the long term, it's a weighing machine. And I think one bad quarter has a lot of people overreacting for Tesla. And so, as someone who's been following the company for a decade, I love that. But recently, there's a couple pieces of news that have got me really, really bullish on the company. So the first link that I put here in the description is, which you can go below there and find, is something from Sandy Munro, who is one of the, and it's an hour and a half long podcast about Sandy Munro, interviewed on the show called Autoline. So you guys should definitely check that out, or you can just Google Clean Technica Sandy Munro to find an article summarizing it. But the point being here is Sandy Munro is one of the auto industry's leading independent experts. This guy's job, he worked for Ford, was a rock star executive there for years, started his own firm called Munro and Associates. Their job is to literally take apart cars, buy cars, take them apart, categorize every expense to create incredibly expensive tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, I don't even know how much money reports, and sell those to leading automotive companies, leading automotive analysts. So if you think about a person who understands what's in cars, is seeing what's in under the hood of every single car and who's advanced or not, Sandy Munro is probably the leading thought leader about this. Like independent, he actually was a huge Tesla hater and skeptic originally, and in the past 3 or 4 interviews, he has come around like crazy. I mean, he is incredibly bullish. He seems to get more and more bullish every interview the more he takes them apart. And so watching this interview that just came out 4 days ago with Sandy Munro, I mean, you're looking at this guy who has the most credibility as an independent automotive consultant in the industry, and he's saying how much light years ahead Tesla is, specifically in this transition to being a smart software first car, essentially, having all the electronics run through one system, not go through a million suppliers. This vertical integration, given that the car is moving software first, voice first, is a huge advantage, and Tesla's the only company that's even close to doing that. He even mentioned several times there's a military grade technology. So we have this guy validating how far ahead Tesla is on the technology piece, which is just huge to me. And the other thing, last note on Sandy Munro I want to say is he shows up this slide of the 3 electric motors of, like, I think it's the i3, the Bolt, and the Teslas. And so Teslas has more horsepower, is cheaper, and is more efficient. And is lighter, I think. So it's like has more energy, is lighter, and cheaper. All 3 of these stats Tesla wins in. And it's so just this huge, I keep doing more and more homework into who has the lead in the cheapest, most efficient electric vehicle technology. That is going to be a huge advantage given in the shift to electric vehicles, if you think that's happening. I think that's happening, and Sandy Munro is validating that Tesla has a huge, huge lead in this technology. And so that made me super bullish and got me super pumped about it. So that's number one thing, Sandy Munro. The second article that I wanted to bring up was basically the Chinese Gigafactory. Elon Musk has confirmed that the Chinese Gigafactory is going to be built in May, finished building in May. And so I mean, this is blowing my mind. This is a building that was like, I was just in Shanghai, a couple, like a month or 2 ago, and they were like, it was literally a pile of dirt. They were like, don't go. And now you can watch videos almost every day. There's a drone flying over of this factory in China that Tesla's building. And I mean, the speed at which it goes up is incredible. And Sandy Munro actually talks about this. And in going to China, like, I can tell you, it is unbelievable at the speed at which they build these infrastructure projects. I mean, they're working around the clock at night. There's videos of them at night with lights working on this Tesla factory. Like when I was walking around Shanghai, like Sunday morning, 8 a.m., like forget about it. There's construction happening, like they're going constantly. So I just think China knows how to build things. They know how to build things quickly, and people don't realize that we're literally, by the day this Tesla factory gets closer to completion, they say it's going to be done in May, but I think that's the building. It won't actually be able to start pumping out cars in May, but they're planning before the end of this year. And so that has I almost look at the Tesla Chinese factory as a separate sort of like company or entity, because then you basically get access to domestic China. You can sell cars without the import tariffs, way cheaper to produce them. You're selling them domestically in China, which is the world's largest electric vehicle market. Tesla there is viewed as an extremely cool EV, premium US brand. They're the first company to get a fully wholly owned electric vehicle factory in China, which, like I keep saying, is the world's largest electric vehicle market. So that to me is this like Q3, Q4 catalyst that's only 6 months away that I think no one is realizing. I mean, all of the incremental gross profit from that Chinese factory, which they're financing with local partners, is I think going to be what tips Tesla over the edge from being like break even to profitable. And so I guess getting a little sidetracked, but on that note is the biggest realization I've had, and I've been, critical for Tesla sometimes, and I talk about, my concerns about customer service and communication, but, at the end of the day, like the electric drivetrain and their technology is really what I'm betting on here. And like my validation is that they are way ahead of that. And as long as they can stay ahead in the technology and survive for the market to catch up to them, this is going to be a huge company. And so I am a little bit disappointed with Q1 deliveries. I did take down my estimates. I do think the EV revolution's taking longer to take off, but I still think Tesla has that lead. And as long as they have that lead, that's all that matters. And I think now, Tesla isn't burning hundreds of millions of dollars at normalization. This is what we're going to find out in Q1. And this is sort of why I'm buying now, because I think there's so much uncertainty. But I think what we're going to find out when they report Q1 numbers is they're actually a lot closer to profitability than we had thought, even with a horrible Q1. In Q2, they're almost definitely going to be able to be profitable, or at least cash flow positive. And so now we have a company with, even where you think demand's not great, without the Model Y, without the Semi, without energy taking off, that's break even. And so that is sort of the realization I've had, is crunching all these numbers that, even with one crappy quarter, Tesla still doesn't need to make money. They're going to be break even going forward. And all of these incremental energy growth, the Model Y when that comes out, the Tesla China factory when that ramps up additional or incremental Model 3 demand and production, like all of this is going to go to the bottom line. And I think we have a clear path for Tesla to be profitable. And so that's the other thing. Third point I wanted to bring in before opening up to this AMA, or for you guys to ask questions, is this new law that is being floated in the U.S. Government, which is that they could extend the U.S. federal tax credit from the first 200,000 units you sell to the first 400,000 units you sell. And this is a microcosm of something that I'm thinking about for a while, which is the pendulum has swung to, okay, Tesla used all of their U.S. federal tax credit. Now the tax credit's diminishing. The market is viewing this as like, okay, Tesla's going to have to rely on no subsidies going forward. That's, okay, so someone paid for a super chat. When do you think Tesla it's 400 or 1,000 per share? I have no idea, frankly. Like, I think the company is worth around $400 per share today. And so that's why I'm buying it as fast as I can at $277 per share. So that is what it is. So anyway, to finish this point about the tax credit, the point is, I think, like, if Democrats get elected in 2020 in the US, I think there's going to be a huge push for green and renewables, which I'm obviously a huge fan of. I mean, China is not a democracy. They're not doing this for PR, and they have the equivalent of like 10 to 15,000 USD subsidies on every electric vehicle, because that's how important it is to go green and renewable. And I think governments are just going to wake up and get educated, and we're going to see potentially a new wave of subsidies for electric vehicles that could be another huge tailwind for Tesla. And on that note, the last thing I want to bring up about the financials is this Fiat Chrysler deal. So it looks like Fiat, in some sort of cap and trade system, Tesla's going to be selling them credits because Fiat can't get enough of EVs off the ground. And I mean, this is just another example of legislation, of governments realizing climate change is the biggest issue we face. We need to fix this. And that's why China's letting Tesla build the wholly owned factory. That's why the European government's ordering Fiat to pay Tesla millions and millions of dollars, which I think is going to be a huge boost to cash this quarter. So I think this whole regulation tailwind is like a weird thing that I don't like to bet on, because I don't want Tesla to rely on regulation. But the bottom line is, I do think governments are going to step in and help continue accelerating the adoption of EVs, and whether it's the US or China, and Tesla will benefit from that. So anyway, that is my wrap up. I think Tesla, their technology isn't going anywhere. It's getting better. I'm incredibly excited about the Autonomy Investor Day, which is coming up in a week or two, which I'm going to, and I will be I can't film there, they say, but I'm totally going to be making videos while I'm there in San Francisco about what I saw, all of that stuff. And so I think the big reason what's happening there, and why I'm also buying now, is because I think Tesla's getting zero appreciation for their autonomous technology. And I'm getting sent stuff from short sellers. It's like, look at Navigant Research is saying that Tesla's last in autonomy, literally like last out of like 40 people. It's like, if that's what the market thinks, then fine. I'm buying Tesla, and $0 is being priced in the autonomy thesis. And although I've been skeptical on their whole autonomy business, because I think it'll be a while before self-driving takes off, like I think the market could start assigning a value to Tesla as an autonomy leader very soon, and the catalyst for that could be this November or April 22nd event. So anyway, let me know what you guys think. Anybody have any questions? What kind of returns do you look at when you invest? I try and invest in companies that I think, can go up 10x or more, at least, like long-term investor, at least 10 times my money, sort of like startup venture style. Someone says, what do you think about autonomy, vision versus LiDAR? This is the biggest question. This is why I don't trust anybody who like says they're an expert in self-driving, or I guess some people are, but like if you're not a scientist and you're not a data scientist and a neural net expert, like you have no idea. I mean, the true debate of the next decade is going to be, is LiDAR needed or not? Because Tesla's saying no, everyone else is saying yes, and I don't even think anybody really knows the answer. And so that is the next that is the big question, though. It's, is LiDAR necessary or not? I don't know, but Tesla doesn't think so. And a really interesting tidbit that Matt Joyce told me is that SpaceX uses LiDAR to land their rockets. So it's not like Elon doesn't know LiDAR and isn't familiar with it. In fact, he uses it in SpaceX already, is probably already one of the world's leading experts in LiDAR, and still doesn't think they need it. That made me way more bullish. Matt Andrews, thanks for the super chat. Do Tesla network now, more people in Teslas. Yeah. And so I really wonder if we're going to get an update on the Tesla network at this Autonomy Investor Day. I think we will. I think there's a Tesla, a huge portion of car buyers are switching to fleet operators. And I think they have the leverage because they have all the riders and drivers. And, I think Tesla, that's just another thing that convinced me. My Moonshot Monday about like Lyft should buy a bunch of Teslas. It's just thinking like if Tesla wants to start scratching the surface on other ways of demand, start tapping into ride sharing, I think they could sign up a deal with Lyft immediately. But they just don't want to. And they're being stubborn and they want to wait till the autonomy technology is ready and launch the test network. And a lot of people have been telling me in the comments, like, that's fine. We can wait because then you literally have hundreds of thousands of cars on the road. You press one button and they all turn on and can drive themselves already. And that is a game changer. That, overnight they can introduce that technology. So I think they won't launch the Tesla network until we have autonomy, but maybe that could change on the 22nd. On the 22nd, I have no idea what's happening, but I'm definitely going to cover it. Sean Chandler, appreciate the super chat. BMW sells 10x more cars, but at the same valuation. Why? Reason number one, BMW sales are shrinking. Tesla's more than doubling. So, the value of a company is its net present value of its future cash flows. Basically, this stream of money that we think it's going to make. So I think that the stream of money, if you think about the future of who's going to make more money, who cares about who's selling more cars today? We know there's huge disruption in the market. We know things are going to change. We know Tesla's doing it totally differently. And so you have to think about what the stream of profit looks like in the future and the market. And I would agree that Tesla has an opportunity to make way more money in the future than BMW. That's why their equity is being valued as such. So it's all about growth. And so I think when you think about evaluation of like, why is BMW worth this, Ford worth this, Tesla worth this, like don't try and draw a conclusion of it. I think that's a data point. The market's telling you something that Tesla's building 1/10 as many cars today, but is worth the same value. That's telling you something about what the market implies, and whether you think that's right or not is when you can place your bets. What do I think about NEO stocks? Dylan, thanks for the super chat. Let me know if you have a question. What do I think about NEO stock? I've actually kind of been thinking about I might want to buy it. I mean, it's gotten hammered. I think NEO's got a ton of long-term potential. I'm actually visiting NEO tentatively on early May to go to their San Jose headquarters and like get a little tour and interview. So stay tuned for that. That's gonna be amazing content. Will Arcimoto get any new tax credit benefits? I hope so. They already have a bunch. Maxwell deal. Someone just asked about this. The Maxwell deal. So Tesla's been trying to acquire Maxwell Technologies. This is the battery company I'm super pumped about, but they've been having huge issues. They keep delaying it. The most recent one was yesterday. I think they delayed it till May 15th, like another month delay, basically to allow investors to tender their shares, to say that they are like accepting the deal and will convert to Tesla stock. But the problem is only 7 million shares have converted out of like, I think 50 million shares total. They need half of that. So they only have like 20 or 30% needed of the shares committed to close that deal. What does that mean? Why is Maxwell stock going down? Because most people are concerned the deal's not going to fall through. And then Maxwell stock's going to go back to where it was before Tesla offered in the $2 per share. But what I think actually could happen is there could be a bidding war. I think Tesla's kind of not desperate for this technology, but really wants it. And so I think Tesla will, if Maxwell shareholders refuse, Nicholas, thanks for that question, Tesla will up its offer. First thing is what I think is going to happen to like $5.50 a share. Or someone someone else could come in and try and outbid Tesla. But yeah, Tesla could force the close, but they need the majority of the shares, and they don't have that. When do I think the S and X will get a refresh? I've sort of written this off because I've been saying the S and X have old technology and should be getting refreshed for years, or for like, actually, yeah, a year and a half now. But that hasn't happened, but I think it will. Like, I think it will at some point. I just don't know when, but I'm just not counting on it anymore. Have I seen the Real Vision Tesla video? Yes, I thought it was hilarious and not that serious. But how does a retail investor get invited to Autonomy Day? I don't know. Do I think BMW can be a threat to Tesla in 5 years? No, I think nobody's a threat to Tesla other than the biggest threats to Tesla right now are the internal combustion engine is the biggest thing, a reason why people don't buy a Tesla. They're not buying other EVs, they're buying ICE cars. So I think, whoever comes up, and I think eventually they'll need to come out with the better EV, but I think you're going to want to start from scratch. Rivian, Amazon, they have a way better chance at EV. I would say there's a better chance that BMW is bankrupt in 5 years than not bankrupt, if you had to ask me. Am I a fan of Nikola Motors' hydrogen truck? I think it's interesting, and I think it's huge props to them for like trying to innovate. And I actually got invited to go to their like unveiling event, but I can't go because I'm going to the Tesla thing. But I think it's props to them, but I think they're going to go bankrupt too because it's just too hard and they're competing with Tesla. Just reading more of your questions right now. Any more questions before I tune off here? Do I think the Chrysler deal will help finance Maxwell? No, the Maxwell deal is in stocks. They don't need cash at all. I'm pumped about this Fiat Chrysler cash infusion. I think that could be an X factor. And I think it just shows why being the leading EV company has a ton of perks. Tesla's the lowest price revenue valuation. Top 10 Tuesday. What up? Wait, so many questions coming in. This is awesome. Best time to buy, lowest price revenue valuation. I mean, hey, look, I think Tesla was very expensive on a price sales valuation before this. But I think for a company growing 100%, like two or three times price sales, I mean, I'm buying. I don't know if that's cheap or not. I don't know if that'll work out or not, but I am buying because I think in the long run, Tesla should be worth 3 to 4 times sales as a hardware company, probably, 7, 8 on 9, 10 on their autonomy revenue. So I just think this is a huge growth story. And the market's not appreciating it, which is why I'm buying it. How many shares do I own? I'm up to 97 shares. Will I buy a Tesla myself? Eventually, I want the Roadster too one day. I mean, who doesn't, right? Like, come on. How much of Tesla's valuation is for non-automotive products right now? 0. Nicholas, thank you. This is exactly why I'm buying Tesla right now, because I think they're only priced as a EV OEM, not even an autonomous company, not even a truck company, barely even from the Model Y, 0 pricing in of the energy. Like, I just think none of that is priced in, and I think they're going to succeed at all of it, even though it will take some time. I think the market, that's I'm going to end on this note, but that's like the crux of why I'm so pumped and why I'm like aggressively buying Tesla right now as fast as I can, because that inflection, that ahead of this, when everybody thinks Tesla's quarter sucks, when nobody's giving credit to autonomy, when the Maxwell deal is not going to close, when everything's in the shitter, the Model S and X haven't been refreshed, when all of these are issues and negatives, when the tax credit's expiring, when there is no China factory, like all of these, like that, the pendulum is swinging all the way negative, and the second people realize, oh, they're not going bankrupt, oh, Tesla is kind of leading on autonomous, oh, the Model S and X will eventually get refreshed, the Model Y is actually coming, like the demand cliff wasn't as bad as we thought, I think the pendulum's going to start swinging, the growth story is going to come back into focus. Nobody's been talking about energy. Tesla hasn't been constrained at the cell level because of the Model 3 has been, demand's been lower. They could have a huge breakout quarter for energy this year or this in Q1. Shout out Saad Ahmed for the super chat. Do you think SEC stuff will affect the company? No, I think we've moved past the SEC stuff unless Elon tweets something really, really dumb again. How many shares do I have in Arcimoto? Like 160. I like $500. That's it. Nobody's giving the autonomy value. I know Morgan Stanley is, but the market's not buying that. I think I think this could be the growth story of Tesla is the core business of OEMs get to break even or slightly profitable without Model Y, without growth in energy, and the autonomy story really starts taking off. And I think we have the next Tesla bull run. Remember, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just an investor. This is me documenting my decisions, but I'm incredibly pumped about what's going to happen. I'm going to be following the Autonomy Investor Day, Q1, all of that here on the channel. Really pumped about it. Anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Had a blast doing the live stream. Let me know what you think in the comments below. One last question on Super Chat. Were you disappointed with the Model Y specs? No, not at all. They were basically exactly what I was expecting. I think the Model Y, I was a little bit disappointing because it's not like cool and shiny and like doesn't have a new feature. Like it's not like, but from a financial perspective, it's got huge potential. Like it's what people want, more storage space, a little bit bigger. Like it's the hottest selling CUV segment. Like, I think from a business perspective, if you're getting excited about financials, then the Model Y is an incredibly exciting product. But is it like from a nerd, like I want to see the battery technology improve product? No, it's not that exciting. Bitcoin. Ooh, I just recorded an episode about Facebook's stablecoin, which I think is going to be like, I'm so pumped about it. So anyway, where do I get money from? So many questions coming in here. All right, anyway, I'm done. I'm signing off. You guys are all amazing. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is HyperChange. Let me know what you think in the comments. Huge shout out to our Patreon supporters, patreon.com/HyperChange. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. All right, one more question. Roe Safol, will the EV tax credit extension pass? No idea. I don't know, but I am bullish on more legislation helping EVs and Tesla, whether it's China or Europe or the US. I'm just bullish on more legislation helping EVs in the future. So anyway, when are Teslas going to fly? I don't know. I hope soon, hopefully. Anyway, peace out, Hyperchangers. See you guys next time.